We begin this morning with a small New South Wales town in shock and an entire state in mourning after the discovery of the bodies of two boys aged 6 and 7 in Coonabarabran.
A 66-year-old woman who is known to the children remains under police guard in hospital after being arrested at the home. Let's go straight to our reporter Zakasha Marlin in Coonabarabran. Zakasha, hello again. Just take us through. What do we know so far?
Yeah, so police were called to a property here in Coonabarabran just after 2 p.m. yesterday. We're about 2 hours northeast of Dubbo after a welfare concern call was made. Now, police arrived at that property and sadly they found the bodies of two young boys aged 6 and 7 inside the home. A 66-year-old woman was arrested at the property and taken to the local hospital here where she's remained under police guard. It is understood she is assisting detectives with their inquiries. We know very little at this stage. However, the ABC understands that this woman is the boy's grandmother and that there's no other threat to the community. And now a strike force has been set up to investigate the circumstances into these boys' deaths.
This is such a sad story, Zakasha. This is a small community in regional New South Wales. What's been the response where you are this morning?
Absolutely. As you said, it's such a small community. I think one of the biggest feelings we're sensing this morning is just shock. How could something like this happen in such a small community? You know, it's a community where of less than 2,400 people. Everyone knows everyone or they know of someone. So everyone's just devastated by this. The New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, he issued a statement last night saying the state is mourning with Coonabarabran over the deaths of these two young boys who had their whole lives ahead of them. He said, "I cannot begin to imagine the heartbreak their loved ones are currently feeling, including their family, friends and teachers." Now, the boys' school have also issued a statement expressing their deepest sympathies to the community, and they have counselling and support available today for staff and students.
All right, Zakasha, thank you for your work this morning. And if this story has raised any issues for you at all, you can get help by calling the National Sexual Assault, Domestic and Family Violence Counselling Service on 1800 RESPECT. That number again is 1800 737 732.
Let's get more now on one of the other main stories we're following this morning, those major ripple effects the US president has sent through Australia's film industry after he flagged a possible 100% tariff on all films made outside the United States. We've got our reporter Will Murray on the Gold Coast. Will, where a lot of films have been made in the last few years. The White House says this is just a proposal at this stage.
Yeah, good morning, Bridget. It certainly didn't sound like a proposal when Donald Trump took to social media on Sunday to announce the 100% tariffs on what he called foreign-made films. But as you say, has since softened on that, and the White House now says that that was just a proposal and he'll consult with the local US film industry before making any decision on that. Now, he says these were necessary because the local US film industry had been decimated in recent years and that Hollywood needed assistance, basically, to be able to compete with other countries who are offering incentives for US producers to go and make films overseas. Now, he said that Hollywood was dying a slow death and it needed all the support it can get. Have a little listen to what he had to say earlier.
A lot of it's been taken to other countries, and a big proportion. And I'm actually going to meet with some because, you know, there's some advantages, I guess, and I'm not looking to hurt the industry. I want to help the industry. But they're given financing by other countries. They're given a lot of things, and the industry was decimated.
And Will, what's the reaction in Australia so far?
Well, I think initially, Bridget, there was quite a bit of angst. Australia invests a lot in attracting overseas producers to come here, and they invest a lot in big studios. We've got one here behind me on the Gold Coast, one in Brisbane, up in Cairns, and it's worth a lot of money to Australia to get big productions to come here, some $500 million alone in the last financial year. And as I said, Australia is one of those countries that Donald Trump is talking about that offers incentives for US producers to come here. Australia offers a 30% tax offset for some elements of production, and it really is a key part of growing this film industry here. Now, later on, once Donald Trump had seemingly softened on that approach, this tariff idea was met with a little bit more scepticism. You know, people wondering how he would impose a tariff on what is a service rather than a hard good, as he's imposed on other countries for other things. The other issue that Australia has raised since Donald Trump made that announcement is that it needs to invest more in the local industry. You know, like other areas where they have a reliance on the US, perhaps that needs rethinking, and perhaps some of those incentives that we offer need to go to local producers instead, Bridget.
That would be good to see. Will Murray, thanks very much. Let's take you to pictures of the Met Gala now, if we can. Oh, there we go, Sydney. Sweeney looking incredible. She has shot some films in Anyone But You. She shot that in Sydney recently, so she's a star who certainly spent some time in Australia. Of course, she was in the first season of The White Lotus. And that is a nod to this year's theme, black tailoring, and she looks incredible.